Darian Fenton.
Talofa lava, Mr Chair. I too come to the first call in this long committee stages ahead of us on the third Super City Bill. As an Aucklander, as someone that's lived in Auckland for many, many years, more than 20 years, as someone that lives in Waitakere but also works on the North Shore in Northcote and on the North Shore, and who's been involved in Rodney, who's listened and been to many, many meetings about this issue with both community groups, ordinary people, discussed with my neighbours, talked to the people of the North Shore, talked to many, many groups about their concerns about this bill. And you know, Mr Chair, the reason behind that, you can understand it, because this is the biggest change that we've seen in local government in New Zealand's history. It's a huge change. There's never been an amalgamation of this size. The new Auckland Council will have greater assets than Fonterra and Telecom combined. That's enormous. It's just unimaginable. It will employ thousands of staff and represent 1.4 million people, 1/3 of our nation. So is it any wonder that Aucklanders are concerned about this bill? Is it any wonder that there have been meetings up and down all parts of Auckland? Because this is major constitutional change from local to regional government, and I don't wonder that the polls that we've been hearing about today, and we'll hear more about, no doubt, Mr Chair, are saying that Aucklanders think the process has not been sufficient, that they haven't been heard, their voices haven't been heard, and they've still got deep concerns. Now, Mr Chair, we got off to a very bad start with this. I know it's been a very long process, but we did get off to a very bad start with this bill after we had two other bills, one that didn't even have a select committee process, the second that was driven through under urgency in this House, where people, all they could do was listen powerlessly to what was happening here. What do we do with this third bill? You'd think, Mr Chair, there might have been some learnings around that, but it's actually the submissions on this third bill were called on Christmas Eve, or round about Christmas Eve last year, and people were given all the Christmas holidays, the Christmas summer holidays, until the middle of February to get their submissions in. You know, when people were getting back from their leave, if they had it, people were getting back from the beach, they had to be thinking about their city, about the enormity that this bill culminates on the huge change in Auckland. So I want to put on record my congratulations to the people of Auckland, the thousands of Aucklanders who made submissions, the people of Auckland who made the effort, who had the passion to put their submissions in, to turn up to the Select Committee, even though in some instances I heard people were getting 5 minutes to have their say, which I thought was pretty deficient. I also do want to put on record my congratulations to the Select Committee. At least there was a process in this bill, and at least it was a process that went a bit longer than the other bills. But I think that what really concerns me about these bills and this third bill, Mr Chair, is that National made an election promise to consult Aucklanders on the findings of the Royal Commissioner, which they have broken. They have broken that, Mr Chair. John Key, when he was in opposition, put up a members' bill promoting a referendum. What happened to that idea? How quickly the Prime Minister has forgotten. And the government has bypassed the provisions of the Local Government Act, which require a referendum on amalgamation. This has never happened for any other communities anywhere in New Zealand before. So, Mr Chair, while my colleagues have said, and I repeat it, we support reform of Auckland's governance structures, we oppose this bill. It's deficient, the process has been deficient, and I'm really disappointed that we have gone through a year and a half of this and the government is still saying no to the things that Aucklanders most want to help fix their broken super city and shift control back into their hands. They've broken a promise because they said they would give power to the local boards, and the local boards would know what those powers looked at. Now, how can anyone be contemplating standing for a local board at the moment when they don't know what their responsibilities are going to be? They don't even know what they're going to be paid. You know, all of which Aucklanders have clearly called for the powers of local boards to be spelled out. in legislation, and the government said all along that that would happen, Mr Chair. Mr Chair.
Rahui Katini.